a second term, huge expectation, several challenges on the table, and Nigerians are watching and waiting for the fulfillment of the promises made at the polls. We continue to look at the agenda of government and what needs to be done. Meanwhile, in several states of the Federation, especially where there were new governors, several activities are happening. We keep our eyes on the issues. Let's get talking tonight. I have my guest, Mr. Ayo Oyalo, is a member of the APC. He joins us from our Abuja studio tonight. Good evening and welcome to the program, Mr. Oyalo. A lot of expectation. Yesterday we were speaking to Dr. Obieze Kwesili, and perhaps she joins one of those people who believe that the government of the APC in the first term in office did perform abysmally, and that the performance she described it as a disaster. I mean, going into the first term behind us, going into the second term, a lot of criticism also have come to the government, especially when they expected the president to give a speech on the inauguration day, but none came.
Well, good evening, Sean. Thank you for having me. We seem to have the tendency to like to make a mountain of a molehill. It is true the president did not give a speech on the 29th of May, but if anybody has been following event, when the program of event was released for this new administration, the president clearly stated that June 12 henceforth will be the Democracy Day, and therefore May 29 celebration were going to be low-key, and it clearly was low-key. So I am assuming, even though I can't talk on his behalf, I am assuming that by June 12, he will be giving a speech. But do not forget that a day before May 29, he had a chat with Nigerians on the national network television, and he had a very wide-ranging chat that covered almost every topic. So I understand that people want to hear their president speak, and Nigerians have a right to hear their leader speak. But I think if the man has told us that, look, May 29 is handover, but clearly June 12 is the day we want to choose as Democracy Day for obvious reasons, I think we should wait until June 12 before we can now begin to knock him and say he's not willing to talk to us or not. So I don't think it's a big deal. I assume, and I'm very sure, that I won't be disappointed on June 12. He's going to be giving a national speech, and I'm sure Nigerians will hear all they want to hear. We're able to lay bare his plan and his programs for the for his second term coming. As from June 12th. So that's my own expectation, and I don't think we should make so much out of this no speech on May 29.
Is it the media that is making so much out of it, or the expectations of Nigerians? Because maybe you're mixing things up. My assumption here, Mr. Oyalo, Democracy Day is a day to celebrate our civilian rule coming, our operation of the democracy. That's a different kettle of fish altogether. The inauguration, where the government starts a new dispensation, and what the government is going to do on that day, usually you find the leader of that government stating it out. That's what usually happens. So is it Nigerians or the media that are expecting too much for the president, or you're just trying to defend the president and the reason why he did not give the speech?
So I have just clearly told you that I am not defending him because I don't know what's on his mind. But I assume, based on the program that were reeled out before now, that June 12th will be the main day. And like I just told you, why not wait until June 12th before we finally throw the man under the bus? I think we are making too much of it. Rather, I would rather want to see a system or a situation where
so passionately. Just a moment, Mr. Oyalo, if I may put this in. You defended this government so passionately. And you are one of those who said to Nigerians at some point that they should expect a new leaf, a breath of fresh air. Those are some of the things that you said before the end of the first term. And so are Nigerians wrong to have high expectations of President Muhammadu Buhari and the APC?
No, Sean, I have not said don't have expectations. Hear me clearly. I am saying one of the things I expect, and I think Nigerians should look forward to, is one, rather than wait for 5 months like we waited in the first term, we should have the administration cabinet all set before a short period of time. We wouldn't have to wait for another 5-6 months like we did the first time. I believe clearly that they have been able to get their act together, and hopefully within the next couple of weeks we will have a cabinet in place. We'll be able to hit the ground running. I mean, for the first time in 4 years, we have a growth in the GDP in the first quarter, rather than the small one we've had, contraction and everything in the past. We actually had a slightly healthy growth, much healthier than the last 3 quarters. I mean, first quarter of the year in the last 3 years. So I think they know their work is cut out for them. And I'm very sure that this administration, this second term, they will not drag on things. I don't think we should just dwell on some of the smaller issues. We should look at the bigger issues.
Let's bring a PDP member into the conversation, Mr. Ken Okolugbo. He joins us via Skype. Thank you so much, Mr. Okolugbo, for joining us tonight on the program. You heard some of the things that Mr. Oyalo has said. What are your expectations? Are you disappointed? What are your views about the manner in which the Buhari administration or the Buhari government kick-started the second term, and the approach to it and the body language that you have seen so far?
Well, the thing about it, Shino, is I wouldn't say I'm disappointed. First of all, what we expected was, even though they had said that the celebrations for the main 29th was going to be low-key, which we all knew about in advance, there was nothing wrong in him giving at least a short speech. It might not have been a very long speech, since June 12 has been made the Democracy Day, which we all support. He would have given a speech that would have also inspired Nigerians, especially coming from the backdrop of the fact that the elections are being challenged and Nigerians are looking to a new order. We're looking at a situation where we are believing that the president is not going to do the same thing as he did in 2015, where he delayed his list of cabinets for 6 months. We're looking at a situation whereby we are talking about the economy, which he wrongly puts as having gained. Rather, it has shrunk from 2.38 to 2.0 in terms of GDP. The inflation rate, like we all know, has risen from 11.23 to 11.48%. So we're looking at a president who should have named the new service chiefs, like we have rightly said, in terms of tackling the security situation. He would have given us a face of a new or next level, like they have talked about. That's exactly the situation of what most Nigerians expected. But having been sworn in, and he kept mum, and he wasn't even at the banquet party of that night. It leaves a lot to be desired.
Ken, some of the APC will say that your party messed up the economy, the state of affairs of the nation, and the APC is trying to fix things. And that's the states your party has left this nation. Those are some of the arguments the APC will make. And when they hear the PDP saying that the APC is not doing well, they say they are baffled by it.
Well, the truth about it, Shehu, is nobody has said that the system was perfect. The blame game should end. That's exactly what we are saying at this point in time. We have had enough of the blame game. Yes, there was a lot of things that could have been done between 2000 and 2000 till 2015 when the PDP was in power. But if those things were not done, why is it that we cannot use this 4 years to right some of those wrongs? But so many systems that we put in place were improved on. We all know that the idea of TSA was brought about by the PDP, but it was implemented by this government, which is quite laudable. And so if they could implement the Treasury single account, then they should not continue to complain. Some of those things that we have put on track, like today we are seeing that the rail tracks that were conceived by the PDP, which is the Ibadan Lagos rail track, it's being put into physical infrastructural reality by this government. And so if they're continuing on some of these little examples I have shown, enough of trying to say that what has been there. We've had 4 years.
From what we have seen in 4 years, after all, PDP, APC, APGA, any other party, it's a country that we are in, it's a nation that we're in. The big question is, do you see the capacity in the APC team, in the Muhammadu Buhari and Oshibajo pairing, to lead this nation out of some of the challenges that it's facing?
Well, they said a festival that is going to be successful starts from the breaking of firewood. Now, this is the second term. We have not had any announcements. There has been no appointments made already. That is very bad. What we expected is that as we're leaving the Eagle Square, we should have had appointments that have been made. We know the boards have been dissolved. The Federal Executive Council has been dissolved. There are very key appointments that would have been made by now to get the new term on a sound footing. And so when these things are not done, it leaves a lot to be desired. And so what we are saying is, let us stop looking at the back. Let us move forward. Let us see them put a cabinet together faster than they did in 2015. Let us see a sense of urgency in terms of the security situation, which has become so bad that everybody has accepted that it's a very critical situation that we have in the country. Let us see the fight against corruption, where a stronger and not a selective approach. The EFCC has done very well, and I must tell you this, because I hate to condemn the EFCC, knowing the leadership of the EFCC and what they stand for. But let us see one that will be done without fear or favor. Right. These are the things that we desire to see.
Just for a moment. Let me bring Ayalo. There's a lot of expectation on the APC government. Going forward, within the ranks of your party, it's not all smooth, we know. But do you think that within your party, these expectations are going to be met? The president has said, look, he would prefer to go slow and achieve success. Are we going to see the same trend, a trajectory in which the president operated in the first 4 years?
Well, Sean, one of the first things you must understand is that the National Assembly will be dissolved in about a week. So even if the president wants to appoint a cabinet, until the assembly is in place, he cannot appoint cabinet. I don't know why people are failing to understand this. The man will be back in the country maybe tomorrow or thereabout. I don't know the exact date. The National Assembly, I think they have just next week. And you know they cannot clear ministers in a week. So let us stop playing around with words. I am very sure that he will not take so long to appoint his cabinet this time around. That is one. Secondly, Nigerians should expect that things will be better, at least from the huge infrastructural deficit that we had before this government came in. The last 4 years have seen massive infrastructural work going on. Road, rails, bridges, so many things. We have seen a lot of strides made in the agricultural sector, from the CBN Anchor Borrower program that is being anchored by both the CBN and the NARSA, the Nigerian Incentive-Based Research System for Agricultural Lending. Both of them, with the Bank of Agriculture, have done extremely well in terms of positioning our agriculture. And mining is also getting a pride of place. So I am very sure that this second term is going to be much more better. It's going to be better than we had in the last 4 years. And Nigerians should expect that we'll be able to feed ourselves, we'll be able to produce almost everything that we need. Industrialization is going to be one of the focus of this administration. And also, finally, the poor are being taken care of. And in the next level, it is going to be up. The ante will be up, and I can assure Nigerians that things are going to get better this second time.
Okay. We must leave at that, and expectations of Nigerians are high in the coming days. Issues about governance and what the government is doing and what they promise is going to be brought to the table. But I sincerely thank you, Mr. Ayo Yalo and Mr. Ken Okolubo. Thank you so much for your thoughts tonight on the program. But that's our show for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm Shiwan Kimale. Bye-bye.